Okay, welcome back, everyone. Let's get into UI, UX design, and then do our stand-ups. So, as of yesterday, you guys are now officially UI, UX designers. You guys have designed through the Balsamiq app designs for your projects. Okay, we're going to go over some official rules on design, but you guys are already doing it now. Since the time you've designed your own website, you are now officially designers, and that's something that you can talk about if you speak with a potential employer, and it's a really good talking point. There are some schools that go into official UI UX design, but there's not much to it other than drawing squares on a screen, to be honest. And the developer is able to do it just as well, I think, as a designer. Now, some designers specialize in making that perfect experience and mapping it out. But I think everyone here should be able to do that as well. Okay, so let's get into that. So I'm here on the tab UX UI considerations. And so I'll just read through this. I know you guys can read through it yourself, but I just want to give you just the official intro. So the user experience, you're probably already familiar with design as it's all around us. When creating something, it's essential to make sure that it does what it's supposed to in the easiest way possible for the person using it. UX is for user experience and is designing a product service that's easy to use, intuitive, and valuable to the user. The best design is invisible. Users shouldn't think twice about what they're using. Good design solves a problem, while bad design creates one. Okay, the only difference I would say, I'll explain my points of view that may contrast this after this whole page. Okay, so user interface. The user interface, the UI, is any and all visual interactive elements of a digital product. This can include buttons, icons, menus, and navigation schemes. The goal of UI is to create a good user experience through an interface that's intuitive, visually appealing, and easy to understand. While UX design is focused on the user's needs and goals, UI design is focused on the visual and interactive elements of the product. So UX is the user experience. UI is the design of the page. Okay, in web development, UX and UI design are essential considerations in successful web development. The best digital experiences put the user at the center of the design, addressing their needs to create something that is a pleasure to use. Excellent user experiences drive engagement and increase value of your projects. Okay. I don't want to disagree with the platform. I will just add a footnote to it, which is it depends. You have to know who your user is, right? Like if you're developing for a business, definitely want to make it clean, cut, intuitive, easy to understand. But if you're creating a web page that's your own and you want an experience for the user that's a bit more artistic, I think that you should have that freedom. If, like, let's say you're doing a web page for art or an artist, I've seen lots of UX UI designs that match the type of website that I would expect to be. There's some stores even that are selling clothing or music. They have a complex UI UX design, and that matches the atmosphere of the website. So if you're doing just a simple business website, then yes, you always want something clean cut, but you also have to make a caveats for the type of product you think you may be selling, right? Because you don't want to just have, you know, like when you walk into a shoe store in the mall, it's going to be a different atmosphere than when you go into a grocery store and everything is on neat shelves and aisles. Okay, so I just want to add that caveat for the sake of your guys's design, because this is your project, essentially. You can do with it as you please. But in general, in the business world, we want to keep these rules. That no funny business. Keep it clean cut. You know, UI is going to be intuitive. So is the UX. Okay. Problem statements, learning objectives. Explain the purpose of problem statements. Okay, so I'm going to explain the purpose of problem statements and describe how a problem statement as well. Okay. This is something that you'll be encountering somewhere on stand-ups when you get a job. When you do your daily stand-ups, the QA tester or somebody on the team, quality assurance is what I mean by QA, is going to describe a problem and how it needs to be fixed. So creating problem statements is an essential part of UX design process. Problem statements summarize who the user is, their need, and why that need is important to them. It defines the problem you want to solve before generating potential solutions. This helps condense your perspective on the problem and provides a metric for success through the design process. To create a problem statement, use the following structure. Identify the user, determine the need or assumptive solution, and define the goal or problem to solve. Okay, it's like, here's what the user here's who the user is, this is what I think the solution should be, and the goal to solve this is going to be XYZ. You can have multiple goals. Sometimes it's good to have those goals in the morning stand-up, saying, if this doesn't work, I'm going to try this, and if that doesn't work, I'm going to try this, just so they know that you have more than one approach. Okay, and if all those approaches don't work, you got to think of some other possible solutions by the next meeting, if that's still the problem. So always think of solutions, keep brainstorming. You know, you can't just show up to the meeting and say, I don't know what to do. You got to have some plan of attack every single time, or figure out why it's not working. At least tell them, I know this is the reason why it's not working. I don't know what the possible solution is yet, but I'm investigating to confirm that this is the reason. If I figure out that this is the reason, then I think I may have a way to solve it once I find the problem. Okay, so you have to have some grasp of what the issue is and how you can possibly solve it if that's the issue. Okay, that's going to impress your project manager so that they are not losing confidence and thinking, oh, maybe I made the wrong hire. Okay. The three components of a problem statement help define who the user is, their need or solution, and the goal or problem. Ensure the problem statement is specific and focused by verifying that it's a persistent or important issue for users, cross-validating with research, or ensuring it presents a problem. Or in the following example, 3 problems that is solvable. Example, Jonathan, a tech-savvy fitness instructor, needs to organize his personal coaching clients to avoid miscommunication. Let me make this bigger. Dropped appointments and potential loss of coaching revenue. Okay. The absence of a solution needs to be the problem, as well as in this example. Alicia, the working professional mother of 2, needing a way to organize the family schedule in order to keep her children occupied in an effective learning environment and give her focused working hours. Ensure the scope of the problem or goal is reasonable and achievable. If it's too broad, narrow it down. Okay, you have to have a goal that's feasible. You know, don't try to overextend yourself and tell your boss, you know, all the things that you plan on doing, and then your boss is maybe unsure if that's within your scope of ability and time. Okay, any questions on this? I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but stop me if I'm not making sense. Now here's a bit more important information. I am going to get a status check on this. Okay, so please pay attention. Design principles. Here are some principles and guidelines that you can use to create effective, visual, appealing, and user-friendly interfaces. Okay, number one is simplicity. So keep the interface as simple as you can. Your goal should be to make the user think as little as possible. Consider some ineffective user interfaces you have experienced in the past. It's likely that they involved a lot of hunting for the right button in order to press to find the page where you want to go, where you want it to go. Keeping your navigation scheme is clean is critical for your users. Okay. Create a standard for elements on your interface and stick to it. Keeping navigation elements in the same place and the same style ensures that once users learn how to navigate one page, they can apply that to every page as well. Also, flexibility. For some applications, consider adding customization for your users. Being able to toggle between light and dark mode, as well as changing font sizes, can be helpful. Usually you can change font size just with your browser. I'm not sure. I've seen a website that allows you to change font sizes. Does this one do that? No, this one doesn't do that. This has light and dark mode. Font choice. The fonts you choose should be easy to read regardless of the device it's on, and should be consistent with all of the fonts on in your application. Choose a sans serif font like Arial, or for screens, and for printing, choose a serif sort font like Times New Roman. Avoid kitschy fonts like the infamous Comic Sans that aren't connected with the legacy, with legibility, and don't command respect. I think Comic Sans is fine. I think it's just it's fun to hate on. But it depends. It depends on what it is you're selling. You know, if you're designing a page for a preschool, I think Comic Sans may be okay. It just depends on what you're selling, I would say. So use a font that people are going to be familiar with, something that is going to make them feel like they're on a normal website, not something that's like way out there, right? Again, you have to know who you're designing for. And color choice. Color is an essential consideration for any interface design, and it's effective. You can improve the production value of any user interface when choosing colors for your fonts, and make sure to use colors with high contrast to ensure readability for your users. Okay. Use consistent colors throughout your interface to create a cohesive experience for your users, and a helpful tool to spark your imagination is coolers. Let's check out this thing. This is going to give us some color palettes if we're not the best at choosing different color palettes. Okay, so you can explore the palettes here. If you want to find some colors that blend, a color combination that you think is going to work for the type of product you're selling on the website, then here is a spectrum of colors you can use. I like all types of color designs. It really depends on the type of website, like I said, the type of website, the type of product, the type of company. So, but these colors here, these color patterns will match and work with color contrasting. Okay, so 1 through 10, do we understand why we want to keep it simple, consistent, flexible, why font choice is important and color choice is important? It's for sake of business, right? You want to keep something familiar enough that they don't have to wonder where they're at. You ever go on a weird website and you're like, I don't know if this is safe here. Might get a virus. Okay, accessibility in design. So here we're gonna read through these. This may be the most important page in the whole UI UX considerations tab. Okay, learning objectives. We're gonna describe the importance of designing accessible content, apply best practices for designing with visual and hearing impairments in mind, and apply WCAG standards as a framework for creating accessible content. So accessibility is for users with disabilities. Okay, that's what accessibility is referring to. And if you work for a big company, enterprise level company, they're going to have by law certain accessibility requirements. It's like if you go to a bar or some kind of place that only has stairs, it doesn't have a ramp for users that would have like a wheelchair or be on crutches where they need to go up a ramp. The government's going to step in and say, you need to make this your business accessible to everyone, not discriminate based on the user's ability. So at some point, I mean, when you're first starting off, this is a hard thing to account for. But if you plan on making your business take off, then you're going to have to make it accessible to more people. So plan on making your website, maybe not this project yet, just finish the goals you have already. But if you were to make a business out of your website, you're going to have to make it accessible. Okay. And that's why we have different H tags, different P tags on our page, because that's going to read to the user that needs a screen reader. Like, okay, you go to H1, header level 1. The user is going to know, okay, I'm at the top of the page. They can't really read the web page. According to the CDC, 1 in 4 Americans is living with a disability. Because of this, it's critical that we design digital content to be considerate of various needs that it can present. Designing with accessibility in mind ensures that every user we serve is provided with the best possible experience. This includes maximizing compatibility with assistive technologies like screen readers. Yeah, when I worked at a bank, that I had to watch tons of compliance videos, and it finally clicked to me. It's like, when I'm working on this accessibility, I'm helping the person using a bank that needs to log in, that sometimes when you're using when you're browsing the internet, that there's devices that can read your eyes, or you can point with like a pen in your mouth and click, and so sometimes, like, if that's all that someone can do and that's how they feel like they can contribute to the family, or contribute by ordering things online, by banking online, then we want to make this accessible for them so that they can use your site, and that's going to let them that's going to make your business even better if it can be accessible to more people, not just people that can click their website as fast as we do as coders. Okay, visual impairment, screen readers. A screen reader is a software that uses text-to-speech to read the information on a screen aloud to its user. This can be extremely helpful to those with vision impairments. Keep the following considerations in mind when creating content to provide a great experience for those who use screen readers. Okay, avoid all caps. Screen readers read words written this way as acronyms, reading each letter out loud rather than the full word.
I have a question about that, Josh.
Yes.
Is that using all caps in your HTML, or will that take into account if the font forces all caps?
No,
Like if I have it written in lowercase, the
yes,
actual content, but the font forces it in uppercase, it won't read it as all caps?
right,
Okay,
exactly.
cool.
Yes. So just to reiterate, if the font makes it all caps, like the view all caps, that's fine. But you need to write it in lowercase words or like a normal case sensitive word, so that when the user is going through your page, they're not getting acronyms read to them instead of the actual words. So good question, Mike. Don't include text emoticons like this one. This is like colon parentheses. Yeah, that's why emojis were created, so that people can understand when there's a emoji on a web page that need a screen reader. Oh, smiley face or winky face or something, whatever it is. Screen readers read this as a colon closed parentheses, which doesn't carry the same meaning. Okay, they're gonna, I mean, some will be wise to it, but that's gonna be a pain to always have to do that. As per Cleveland State University's best practice for accessible online design, decorative images require the addition of an empty or null alt attribute in the HTML code view that will tell the screen reader to skip over the image. An empty alt attribute written as alt without this, without anything in the quotations, with the space between the double quotes. A null alt text is written as alt, so no space between the set of quotes. So you have to put something in here so that the screen reader knows what type of image is being displayed. It's like when you see subtitles in a movie and the subtitles say nice soothing music or something. It's like, well, you can't perfectly describe it, but you got to let them know at least what the atmosphere is, what's going on here. Okay, color blindness. This is also important, because if a user can't differentiate between the color of a text or a color of a button in the background, they're not going to know how to, navigate through your website. So color blindness can combine in multiple forms. Designing with color blindness in mind means that we're using accessible colors. An especially important consideration is making sure that text is readable whenever it is. This tool here, and you can also do this in the inspect as well, in your inspect of your Chrome. But this tool will check the contrast between your text and its background to make sure it's readable for everyone. All right, so let's go through this tool. And here I've chosen a color dark blue and the background color light blue. So it's telling me this contrast is very good. All right, let's say I choose like a grayish color with a background color of light blue. This is what I'm seeing here. Now this is kind of hard to see. This is a 1.23. This is really poor. So we have to make a dark text with a light background, or vice versa. If we choose light text, we have to choose a dark background. That way there's a contrast, and there's contrast requirements for accessibility in enterprise level companies as well. So this is going to be something that, as a front-end developer, if you work as a front-end developer or full stack developer at a company, you're going to have to know this contrast ratio, that you have to meet more than the minimum legibility standard. Okay, if your company is going to be, out there taking in business by law, then you have to have this color contrast so that people can properly read it. Okay. Also, hearing impairments. To accommodate users with hearing impairments, ensure that any audio and video content includes closed captions or a transcript. And that becomes hard to manage when there's like background music. If you're planning on incorporating that into your project, just get it to work for now. Figure out how to accommodate for this later. Okay. Do one thing at a time. Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, WCAG. The Web Content Accessibility Guidelines are at the heart of informing web content creation regardless of industry. As a developer, you should be familiar with these guidelines. To learn more about designing with accessibility in mind, visit W3's Understanding WCAG. So we'll go here, and then we're going to read through all this. It's going to take maybe a couple hours here, but we got to do it. Okay, just kidding. We're not going to do that. But here you have it. Okay, read through it on your own time. If you're thinking of making your own business through a website that you'll be able to create after you complete this bootcamp, it'll be good to read this. All right, so have that in mind. That we have a link here in the platform, Understanding WCAG. So save this, bookmark this, so that you can understand this later for accessibility. Okay, with that, we have finished the lecture for today. We're going to go ahead and dive into presentations. We're going to do our daily stand-up. So before we do that, let me just ask here, do we all understand? Let's do a level 1 through 10 by law. Yes, Spencer, by law. Eventually, if your company becomes big enough, it's going to be targeted by some lawsuit at some point. You know, like anything that becomes big enough, you make enough money, you're going to find somebody there that's going to try to take that money from you in some way. And it's not just to say like for malintent, like you're going to maybe have some user that's going to want to say, hey, I'd like to buy something from you. How come you won't let me access your website? I have a disability. Your contrast is horrible. So, you know, you can't have everything perfect, but this is a guideline if you want to make something like really legit. Okay, so let's give a status check 1 through 10. We understand how to use this tool for color blindness. We understand how to access this WCAG for web accessibility guidelines. And we understand that we need to put alt on our images so that impaired users can use our websites.
What it means by like decorative images, does that mean like if you use a background image for a nav bar, that's just an accent and not anything, not an image that is like necessary content for someone to digest?
A decorative image would be it would be something like, you know, an image of a cat or a dog or some kind of logo on there.
Mm-hmm.
Not something that is going to be for background. Like if you have a metallic background for nav bar, that's not necessary. I mean, it's good to put an alt there anyway if you're using an image, but it's not necessary. I interpret this to say decorative images as in like JPEGs, PNGs that have some kind of content that's visible.
Okay, so if the image provides context to the material of the page, it's non-decorative.
What do you mean by context?
Like if it's, let's say it is a picture of a dog, but then the article is reading through about that dog or that breed of dog, that would be a contextual image. Whereas like if it was like you said, a metallic background over the main content, that is a decorative image.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to understand it.
Okay.
Okay. Let's give a status 1 through 10 so we can get through this here. Thank you for everyone that's participating already. Okay, thank you, everyone. Now, let's stop sharing my screen. We are going to do daily stand-ups. So what I want you to do now is to talk about the progress you've made from yesterday. If you haven't made progress, what your goals are for today, and what you need to do to do that. Okay, so it shouldn't be more than a few minutes each person. We'll go through the list of everybody here. That's how you would do it. Everyone needs to speak in the business environment, talk about your progress, what you need to do, If you've already met your goal, then say that, and that you need to pivot to something else, or your plan of attack for your next goal. Okay, so I will read down the list here. We'll go in the order that I call. So let's say Spencer, would you like to go first? How you doing?
Sure. Hey, everybody. I'm good. My goals for yesterday were to complete a wireframe and my user stories. I came up with 3 user stories, and I mostly completed the wireframe. There's one little section I need a little more work on because I need some information from the business owner. But then I got started with kind of uh, a first go at getting the actual site built using the wireframe, and I can show that too. Unless that's not the point of this time.
Yeah, if you can show, that's even better. If you have
Yeah.
something to show, then show it.
Okay. So I'll share my screen. So this is 30 minutes of work based on the wireframe, which I will also bring up.
Nice.
Sorry. These sections have actually already been included here. And I learned how to do this yesterday, which I'm pretty proud of, is these hover over options. On the actual wireframe, these arrows indicate that there's going to be a lot of images, so I'm going to learn how to do a carousel, hopefully by the end of the day, on these 2 sections, and try to have all of the information on a single index.html file. So that's what we got.
Very cool. All right, keep up the good work. Good to see that you have that hover. So if anyone is struggling with that, you can go to Spencer. All right. Now, next in line here, Evan.
All right. So yesterday I was working on my portfolio, and I was talking with Josh near the end of the day about trying to make media queries work. And so I kind of got it to work for my portfolio. When I do making it smaller, it looks a little better. But then I decided, we also talked about just incorporating Bootstrap more. So I'm now remaking that. So that's where I'm at. It's kind of just slow. I'm going to redo the media queries, but using Bootstrap because it's way simpler, and I can actually incorporate a carousel more easily. I was going to try to learn how to do it myself, and it's like, I can just use Bootstrap, and so I'm going to. So that's where I'm at. I kind of had to redo some things, but yeah. So my goal for today.
What's the progress with Bootstrap? Have you tried it already or not yet?
Yeah. I showed a second page using Bootstrap. I'll show that again here. I'm sorry, kind of went fast. So this is the one without Bootstrap that I made responsive just on my own. But it kind of gets a little icky when it comes to the tablet size. So I decided to just totally do Bootstrap. So here's the Bootstrap page. It's really just the same thing. I just was able to incorporate their classes into my stuff. And now I'm going to be working on making it responsive and go from there.
Cool. Is your nav bar sticky? So that is cool. All right.
Yeah.
Nice job, Evan. Keep it up. All right. So next online. Let's see. Carlos.
All righty. So okay. So here is my layout. Am I on the right page? Can you see this?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So here's my layout that I had yesterday. My goal was just to get the layout and nav bar done. Here's what I have so far. I got my layout and I got my images. I got my nav bar. I just want to kind of add some images in. I got the drop down to pop up. I got carousel. I don't have it fitted obviously yet, so I'm working on that. But yeah, my goal for today is to get these images to be separate in the back. If you can tell, it's just all one giant image, which looks kind of cool like that, but I'm going to separate it. And then I also, since I use Bootstrap, it was kind of easy to make everything manage in and get the nav bar to close up, drop down like
Nice.
that.
Awesome, Carlos.
Are you using those colors or they're just placeholder colors?
They're just placeholders right now.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all pretty spontaneous. But yep, that's more or less. I was just trying to get the layout done yesterday, and then today I'm going to go through and get my colors in. And I mean, I know hot pink is really cool to have on a profile page, but I'm probably gonna take that off.
I kind of like it with these colors, so okay, good job, Carlos. Keep it up. All right, next in line here. We are gonna say Tigist.
Hi everyone. So I'm almost done with my I can share my screen. Okay, share my screen. Okay. So I'm almost done with my what you call it? Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. With my wireframing, kind of like a brief. So I tried to add, I tried to kind of get some idea from the previous portfolios on the platform and trying to add my number info and here my name and my experience in different cards. And I also like the, the carousel. Plus I tried to add the parallax, trying to have a bigger background, a background picture and like title. So this can be like for title, like education or research project, and this can be the background picture that can stick to the background the same way, like to do the for education like that. And I would like to use accordion for my experience, but I don't want to feed the experience my whole page. It's going to, I don't like to be, it's like a blog. So the accordion will kind of like hide the content and only show the kind of titles or some of the important stuffs. And then like similar way, similar picture, like different kind of picture. And yeah, like that. And then contact me at the end. And yesterday I was trying to kind of get myself comfortable with some of the technologies, some of the bootstrap kind of concepts, like one accordion, parasol, parallax, and some of the sticky navbar and media query, and yeah, trying my best. So I'm almost kind of like it's my Visual Studio. So I tried my best to get organized on my visual, on my. I'm not yet done, but I tried to like grab some of the important stuff and arrange my website.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm kind of almost there. So I'm planning to use some custom CSS also. So
Okay.
yeah, kind of like that.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to see the view of it when we get to present next. Okay. So thank you, Tigist. Let's keep it going. And then the sooner we get through this line, we'll go back to work. So Leo.
Okay, so for me right now, I try to do everything without Bootstrap and it kind of became a headache. So now I'm going to go back and just try to do everything with Bootstrap. So that's my plan of attack right now. And I'm trying to to fidget with my wireframe because I don't really think it's gonna work out well. I can't really like, I don't know, convert the two right now. I need to like fix the wireframe so it looks more like the actual web page that I'm trying to create.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, that's where I'm at.
So how are you going to change the wireframe? What are you going to do there?
I'm trying to figure that out right now, to be honest.
Okay.
Because there's I did want to use like APIs, but now I'm kind of like worried that I won't be able to actually finish it in time if I were to try to do that. I don't know if I like set too many goals, so I'm trying to maybe wire back a little bit.
So good. My advice would be if trying to come up with ideas, fresh ideas, is too much of a slow process using Balsamic, then get a pen and paper, draw squares on a web page, pen and paper. Once you go through different iterations of possible ways you can arrange the squares on the page, when you get the best solution, then translate that to Balsamic and use Balsamic to present how close you are to your goal. Okay, so
Okay.
use a 8.5 by 11 or just some binder paper, grab a pen, start writing squares on there. Go through different versions. You can probably do a version in a few minutes, and then go through another version, compare them. When you find one that you like, translate that to Balsamic and then work on that. So that's my advice.
Okay. Sounds good. That's what I'll do. I'll draw it out.
Yep. Leo went, let's see who else. Tina.
Hi. One moment. I kind of just started working yesterday and got more done than I thought I would. So I added more projects to my project section. Added more articles to my article section. Made my About Me page. Added a little carousel, my map of where I'm located. Had this little section done. And then things I wanted to learn and why I want to learn them. Have a chart on the popular languages right now. And then, yeah, what I wanted to learn and why I want to learn them.
Okay.
So,
Nice. May I suggest something?
yeah, go for it.
So for the nav bar, I would say maybe have each tab option there a little bit more spread out, and then use the color contrast tool to see how well the black versus the gray background is working. What's the color contrast level there?
Okay.
So yeah, give that a shot. And yeah, keep it up. You have a lot of projects on there. I'm curious to see what they all do. So
I didn't want to put all my projects on here.
and the only other thing I'd say is maybe consider other background colors besides just white. It might or make it no, you don't want to add to your profile like a light mode, dark mode. I would just say consider other background colors. This is very like resume like. It feels like I'm reading through like a web page resume. But this is
Isn't
your
that the point?
well, yeah, but you have
I
a
think that's the
resume for
point.
that. So to give a little flavor to this, add some color to something so that it feels like this is you, this is your space, what you want other people to see
This
your
is me. It's
design.
elegant. It's
Okay.
simple.
If you like it, then I'm not gonna, critique it. I'm just saying now just think about the nav bar, separating some of the words there and the
Okay.
color contrast there. Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Tina. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through. Who did I not call on? Clark?
So I yesterday I completed my wireframe and I worked a little bit more on the Trello board. And so today I'm just going to be doing the basic layout and gathering images for my portfolio.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know. I think I'm going to try and do it by hand because not the biggest fan of Bootstrap / I don't quite understand it as much as I think I do. So I'm going to try and do it through like media queries and things like that.
Okay, so by this afternoon, we should definitely see a wireframe ready, right? You think you'll have that done by then?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Who else? Bill?
Well, I already showed you guys the wireframe yesterday.
Okay. Oh, today, I mean, like, did you, what's the progress that you've had since yesterday?
Well, since yesterday, I don't really have any. So today I'm just gonna be hammering out the profile page. So.
Okay. Okay. All right. Hope to see some progress soon then. Perna, I know we didn't do this lecture with you yesterday. We were taking the test. So you see what we're doing here. We're creating a wireframe using Balsamiq. We're using Trello to lay out the steps of what we need to complete day by day. We recommend making a profile page for your job hunt, or you can make any page you'd like for a business, for a hobby. So I will link to you that they're in the platform, but I'll link to you what you need to get to start doing to make your personal project for this week, right? So you can catch up with us if you still have plenty of time.
Yeah, I was able to ask you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Randy?
So I was working on the layout of my website. So this is what I have so far. I didn't go through between section, and that's pretty much I have for now.
Okay, cool. Well, this is something. This is good. What does the arrow work there?
Yeah, they do work.
Nice. Cool. Nice. All right, keep it up. Who else?
Me?
Mike. Go ahead.
Okay, so I had my wireframe done yesterday, and all I've done to it specifically is changed a couple of things around with UI UX considerations, and also decided that I wanted to add maybe an alert that pops up from the loading of the page that lets any user know that there is audio playing in the background, and then guides them to where to turn it off. So if they're hearing impaired and can't hear it and the music is just blaring, that way they don't bother other people in their house or business or whatever. And then I did a bunch of work on the layout yesterday, but it didn't save for some reason, so I lost quite a bit of it. And then today I've just been working on getting a general first section done, and getting my assets together for the entirety of the page. So like I made it so this background image stays fixed while the content scrolls. And I have added like a basic first section to this, and essentially this format will just continue repeating for the rest of the area. And then one thing I decided I want to do today, after I get all this content in here, which is basically just making divs and copy pasting, I want to have these checkboxes appear throughout the walkthrough to let you know your progress. And then I want to have another box over on the left here that has all of those checklist items listed together. And when you check them off here, they will be checked off in that box as well, so that you don't have to go searching through the entire page to find what you've done. You can just see your completed checklist on the left here. And I want them both to update with, like I said, if you click here, it will click it there and cross it out. If you click there, it will cross it out here and check it here. Change the styling a little bit and make them a little bit easier to read
Okay.
throughout the document.
So I assume you're going to be working on margin between paragraphs there.
Yes, I literally just threw this stuff in here. I mean, this space in here is literally just a double break. So I just wanted to get an idea of what it was going to look like with the elements in there. And then
Yeah.
also between these paragraphs, there's going to be an relation image to the step that's explained here to give you a little bit more context within the game rather than having to read it and just kind of figure it out on your own. So
Okay.
each section will have a step to do, a checkbox for the thing you complete with that step, and a image reference for where in the part of the level that that step is, and that will repeat as it goes down through the page.
Okay. And if I could suggest something,
Mhm.
maybe just a slightly bigger font size and make the
Yeah.
checkboxes like big and obvious there. So you just like,
Yeah, like I said, I styled those last night.
Yeah. Yeah.
And did that, and I lost it. So I just so I could get something to show today, I just tossed it back in there. But the font color for the checkbox is going to be a different color. I'm probably going to do a blue for that. And then they will, even if the text is only this long, it should fill up the majority of the width space so that it's real easy to see.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Keep at it. You know, I'm glad to see the progress. So I like your ideas as well.
Thank you.
And lastly is John.
Yesterday I just worked on my wireframe. I actually wrote it down on paper,
Okay.
and today hopefully I get it into Balsamic, the website, and do my HTML and CSS for my website.
Okay. So I should see some progress there by
Yeah.
this afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys. That ends the lecture. I'm gonna stop the recording.